I'm Paul Eden and you're watching the YouTube channel of the Nissan EV Owners Group. Welcome. Today we're looking over the recently announced Electric Car Grant and we'll provide analysis of the incentive introduced in July 2025, focusing on eligible vehicles, manufacturer reactions, infrastructure plans and recent developments. The Electric Car Grant provides up to £3,750 off new zero-emission vehicles costing £37,000 or less. Eligibility depends on specific technical and sustainability criteria. The technical criteria are that the vehicles must be a passenger type that use a battery or fuel cell for propulsion with an acceptably low rate of degradation and have zero tailpipe emissions. The sustainability criteria are that the manufacturers must hold a science-based target (SBT) validated by the Science Based Target Initiative, the SBTI, committing to a 42% reduction in emissions by 2030 and net zero by 2050. Eligibility depends on the carbon intensity of the electricity grid used in vehicle assembly and battery production. This will favour manufacturers in regions with cleaner energy grids such as the UK and Europe, and may exclude Chinese-made vehicles as China relies heavily on coal, around 60% of electricity grid. Both Korean manufacturers have applied for but not been granted these targets. Additional requirements include transparent supply chain reporting, certified environmental management systems and a commitment to circular economy principles like battery recycling. Again, it seems Chinese manufacturers may struggle here as they have an opaque industrial culture. The grant has two tiers. Band 1 is worth £3,750 for the most sustainably produced vehicles with lowest production emissions, and Band 2 is £1,500 for vehicles meeting minimum environmental criteria but not the highest standards. Some vehicles will be excluded. Premium models like Teslas, which start above £40,000, and many Chinese-made EVs are likely ineligible due to the £37,000 price cap or high carbon production intensity. The application process involves a digital portal opening on 11th of August 2025, where manufacturers are to log eligible vehicle sales. The grant applies at the point of sale with no consumer application required. Discounts are expected to appear at dealerships within weeks of manufacturers' approvals. Responses to the Electric Car Grant vary, reflecting optimism, strategic alignment and some criticism. Mike Hawes, SMMT Chief Executive, welcomed the grant as a clear signal to consumers to switch to EVs, emphasising its role in boosting the market from 25% EV sales today to 80% by 2030 as per the ZEV mandate. He noted the grant complements existing manufacturers' subsidies and supports the UK's leadership in EV manufacturing and sales. Dan Caesar, CEO of Electric Vehicles UK, called the grant a significant step forward for making EVs more accessible, predicting quick visibility of discounted cars at dealerships. Hyundai and Kia both reduced list prices, matching the government scheme. Hyundai provides £3,750 off the Insta and £1,500 off other EVs. This suggests a desire to capture market share and perhaps a pessimism about their chances of meeting sustainability criteria. Leap Motor introduced a Leap Grant, offering up to £3,750 off its EVs. A senior BYD executive reportedly called the grant scheme stupid, and BYD warned that excluding Chinese EVs could harm the UK's car market by limiting affordable options. Some manufacturers and analysts, as noted by Drive Electric, worry about margin creep, where dealers might reduce discounts to offset the grant, diluting customer benefits. So far, there's no evidence of this. Car Dealer magazine reported new car discounts softening slightly since the announcement, and Automotive Management Online reported prices are rising, primarily due to increased activity, though prices are still lower than this time last year. The biggest price increases in the used market, perhaps stimulated by increased public interest after the announcement. Others criticise complex eligibility rules which create administrative burdens and uncertainty. I'm not worried about these complexities. The application is a one-time process and likely automated. The scheme favours UK and European manufacturers such as Nissan, BMW and VAG. Due to cleaner production grids and proximity to the UK market, this aligns with government goals to boost domestic manufacturing as seen at Nissan's Sunderland plant. Chinese manufacturers face a disadvantage as the sustainability criteria may exclude their vehicles despite competitive pricing. Manufacturers are incentivised to invest in greener production, such as BMW's Leipzig factory, using renewable energy or recycling initiatives to secure Band 1 eligibility. The grant is part of a broader £4.5 billion government package to support EV adoption, with a significant focus on charging. These plans include help for renters and flat owners, as well as cross-pavement charging solutions. There will be signage improvements that allow EV charging hubs to be signposted from major A roads, a first for the UK, addressing consumer concerns about locating chargers. The scheme runs until 2028-29, or until the £650 million fund is exhausted, with no notice for early closure if demand is high. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander emphasised the grant's role in making EVs easier and cheaper while supporting British jobs and the 2030 petrol diesel new car phase out. So what's our critical analysis? Well, the grant addresses the high upfront cost of some EVs, making models under £37,000 more accessible, especially with salary sacrifice schemes saving 20 to 50%, though these primarily benefit higher rate taxpayers who might not be in the market for these cheaper cars. The sustainability focus pushes manufacturers towards greener production, aligning with global climate goals and rewarding companies like Nissan, VAG and BMW. By design, the grant unequivocally favours locally produced cars. I think this can only be good. In conclusion, the UK's Electric Car Grant is a targeted effort to boost EV adoption by reducing costs and incentivising sustainable manufacturing. Potential vehicles like the Renault 5 and the Volkswagen ID and the upcoming Nissan Leaf could benefit, but the lack of a confirmed list and complex criteria create uncertainty. Manufacturers like Hyundai, Kia and BYD have been forced into discounting. Am I in favour of the ECG? Is it a good thing? Well, given it's expected to favour Nissan's upcoming models, yes, I think that's his primary plus point. You wouldn't expect me to say anything else. It's easy because for the consumer, because the manufacturers do all the legwork, and the emissions and scalability requirements incentivise greener supply chains and manufacturing here and abroad, and it complements other grants such as those for home and public charging. There are pros, of course, and there are cons. It distorts the market and may benefit fleet over private buyers, and most cars are bought used, and this scheme does nothing for them. The scheme is underfunded, certainly compared to the PICG, and will likely run out of funds before the end date. Thank you again for listening. I hope I've made what can be quite a dry topic a little bit more digestible. I'll read and reply to all your comments below. Please consider a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you again.